Never have enough time to play it all. You know everybody wants to walk in someone else's shoes. Everyone's forgotten who they are.
Hey guys, welcome back to Otter Creek in Rio Grande. This will be the first installment of building Hellgate. So just like building Silver Gulch and building Maroon Creek and building Frying Pan, there will be a building Hellgate. And I think we're going to start, jump right into it with the original track plan. I say original, this isn't even the original. This is like updated sometime in 2023. And you can see even over here in Maroon Creek in this area is not up to date. But this was kind of what I was looking at. And, some of this might have worked, but I have since gone on to something a little more, I guess what you would call feasible. And this is what we're looking at. This is the updated version of Maroon Creek here. This is pretty close to being accurate as far as the track work goes. And you can see the high line comes out and then crosses over top and then comes into this area here, which is a little bit more condensed than the previous version. And I think this is more doable. Let's look at kind of the working plan, I guess is what you could call it. And so the main thing I'm wanting here is just the ability to come in and drop off essentially empty coal cars and pick up loaded coal cars and leave. That's kind of the whole idea here is kind of a one-trick pony with what we're doing up here in Hellgate. And I'm hoping that I can have a little bit, like maybe a mine here or a mine flat, and then somewhere back over this way, another mine somewhere. And of course, a station and a water tower would be good, and then less than a carload kind of a team track thing going on there. But this is what I'm looking at right now. There will be a turntable. I've got a turntable already, and then a little engine house. The plan is to have an engine here, like a C-19 that does all the work up here. And if I do end up with a couple of mines, then that locomotive will be the one that goes and grabs those cars and has them ready for the train that's coming up from Maroon Creek and Frying Pan. So that's kind of what we're looking at. I have done some things, with Benchwork and whatnot. So we'll go ahead and take a look at what I've got going on. I don't know that I'm going to do any work in this video like I normally do. Probably just show you what I've got going on and then get back to normal business, maybe starting with building Hellgate video 2. Let's take a trip around the railroad room and kind of see what I've managed to do the last weekend or so. And one of the things that I've done is I've gone in and put the spline, just one piece, on around, to kind of see how that's going to work. And I've added a couple more sheets of backdrop. And I threw in a couple of little pieces of scenery here from my in-scale layout just because, they were taking up space, and it does help a little bit to kind of get an idea of kind of space. I'm going to have a spur there. How much room from that track down to that spur track do I have, to look at the scenery? And I feel pretty good about everything at the moment. Let's take a look at this thing. So this is a representation of the top of the track height as it's leaving Maroon Creek on its way to Hellgate. And you know, it's the purpose is just to kind of see where it's going to be, and then I can measure from the floor up to here, and then as I move, you know, further south, I can kind of gauge what's going on there and whether or not I like it. And that's one of the things I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of moving this way and trying to make sure that everything's kind of working the way I want it to in a temporary kind of basis. And so through here, you know, all of this spline, the lower spline, which is going to the time saver, it's all temporary right now. And I feel pretty good about it. I feel good enough about it to know that it's going to work the way I want to. It's just a matter of making sure that I've got all of my risers at the right height and that I've got a nice consistent grade going up to the time saver. Let's go take a look at the plywood for Hellgate there. So I've got my camera on the tripod and I've got it up as absolutely high as it will go. And this is 61 inches to the top of the plywood. And you can see this is where the line going to the time saver is coming through. Now I'm not real happy with it. I think I should probably come down 2 inches. I think that's going to be the next thing I do. You know, these risers here, really, these are the only real purpose they're serving at the moment is to let me know what 61 inches feels like. So leaving down here at this end, you know, I make that 61 inches on that last riser there. So I think what I can do is, you know, my test piece there, all I have to do is lop 2 inches off of it. And then as the spline comes around the backside there, it will actually, you know, begin a level out, you know, somewhere back behind the mine there. And then it will all be the same height as it comes through here. You might be wondering what's going on there. So I've got about 40 pounds there, just kind of testing the strength of the benchwork. I don't think that there'll be that much weight, you know, concentrated on any part of the railroad. It's going to be spread out, you know, over a wide area. So I think if 2 of these cross joists with pocket holes can handle at least 40 pounds, it's more than 40. I just don't know exactly how much these tie plates weigh. They're more than 10 pounds each. So, you know, I think the strength of the benchwork is going to be fine. Looking back to the west across the time saver, you can see down there at the very far end, I do have benchwork and stuff set up to where I'm just ready to lay track as soon as I'm confident that I've got everything concerning the spline fit in there. So I'm looking forward to actually bringing a train in here and working this town from frying pan. I'm hoping that maybe by the end of August, that will be a thing. We're just gonna have to see how it goes. So what I've done here is I just came in and created benchwork at the right height that would put the time saver at 55 inches. So the time saver's at 55 right now. Hellgate's at 61, and then, you know, this little area here where we've got that jog. You know, I did what I needed to do to make things work in what I thought was the most, I guess, convenient way for me. There's any number of different things I probably could have done. The issue that I'm having right here, and it's not really an issue because this is solid, I don't have to worry about it falling off or sliding or anything like that, and near as I can tell, it's still level. But the wall, the wall from this 8 foot down to that end, that 8 foot run there, the wall is probably off by 3/4 of an inch, maybe even a full inch. So what has happened, even though it measures 2 feet, to the end here is 2 feet, and this is also 2 feet. But because I've got a bow in the wall, and because I sucked up the runner there, because that's sucked up to the wall, the time saver juts out. I can make it flush on this end, but then I'll be overhanging by about 3/4 of an inch on that end. What I've been doing is just kind of centering it there as best I can. I don't like it, and I'm just going to let it stew on me for a while to see if there's something I can do to make it better. Is it's going to be a matter of how do I approach the fascia, because it's already got fascia on it, and I'm just going to need to sleep a while on it before I make any determinations. It would be possible to completely remove everything off of the front, including this that runner there, that 3/4 inch 1x4. I could remove it completely, but because of the length of my cross joists in there, it'd be a little tricky. I could do it, I just don't know if it's worth the trouble. So I'm just talking out loud now. I doubt that I'll do anything about it for a while. I'm at another crossroads, and that's, what do I do with this 3-rail? The biggest part of me, would like to have HO, and I've got a couple different options that I'm thinking about here. The easiest option would be to take this 3-rail and then just kind of disappear it into the fascia right here somewhere, as if this line is going somewhere else. That would be the easiest thing to do and the least amount of headaches to have to deal with. However, there won't be anywhere for any of my standard gauge locomotives to go to if I do that. So there's another part of me that thinks maybe I could extend this on underneath Hellgate, just a train's length's worth, give or take, and then maybe engineer a way to turn a locomotive on a real simple turntable, non-motorized, that you turn by hand. If I could get 2 lengths of track in there and have it just enough that I could turn a locomotive around, I could have a stage train underneath there in the same way that I have a stage train next to the door over there in Maroon Creek. Again, that's complicating things. And the other issue in here is what does this look like scenery-wise? It really wouldn't make sense to have 2 different tunnels. I'm going to explore the idea of maybe not having a tunnel at all if I could figure out a way to work the scenery in such a way that, maybe just a bunch of trees right in here in between these 2 tracks. I could have 1 tunnel, and then you just don't know where this track goes. Again, just things that I'm considering and talking out loud about. But ultimately, I've got to figure out what's going to go on with the track up here. I think, in my plan that I just showed you, there's a 1-foot section that can come out here all the way to I keep wanting to say Maroon Creek, all the way to the time saver, as a switch lead, so to speak, or possibly the mine. So, I can't get too serious about any of this stuff in here until I know what my track plan is going to be there at the top of Hellgate. So that's where I'm at the moment. And I think the next video I will probably address making some of this spline final. I think regardless of what goes on in here with Hellgate proper, Hellgate Pass, I think I can make solid and complete it, you know, maybe next weekend, who knows. So that's the update for, I guess, the end of June, the beginning of July. We're just gonna have to see how the rest of this month goes and see what takes place. Thanks for watching.